Hey guys, welcome back to the Warcamp Broadcast, where we talk about all things Return to Reckoning. We release a new episode every Friday at 7 p.m. Central. That's GMT-5 for you that live in the EU. I'm Serj.
Bankalicious.
Before we dive into today's episode, we want to hear from you guys, all right? In a future episode, we're going to be doing a Q&A with everybody.
Yeah. If you have any questions you want to ask that you haven't asked in the comments or that you'd like to see us to be discussing on the podcast, we're going to have a little Google form for you to submit your questions. It'd be really fun to kind of find this way of interacting with our loyal listeners and hear what you have to say. You've been great in the comments, but if there's a discussion that you'd like us to have live on the air, we want to hear from you.
Yeah, for sure. And so diving into today's episode, one of the most common questions we see from newer players and even from some of our closest veteran players is, should I re-roll? Should I start a new character?
Right. So jokes aside, this is a big episode. We got a beefy episode for you all today. But perhaps you're getting farmed in RVR. Somebody's telling you your class isn't meta. Perhaps that person's named Bank and they're being a jerk. Or you feel like you've hit a wall. And I think this is the big one. You feel like you hit a wall. Then, yeah, what we are doing here today might be for you, huh?
Absolutely. So today we're going to argue that before you delete your character or you spend another 100 hours leveling something else, there are a lot of ways to become a much better player without ever changing classes.
That's right. It's all about horizontal progression, and this one's near and dear to my heart because I fell into this trap when I joined the game. Luckily, I stuck around and kept it going, but I'll tell you all about that. Funny enough that I am playing that first class that I ever leveled, but I did meta chase a little bit, and I'll be open about that. So we're here to try and help you understand maybe things that you can bring under your control. And how you can start improving as a player that goes beyond just getting the Sov gear and rolling up another alt.
Yeah. Besides just playing that class that you feel is just naturally better. It's most likely the player behind the screen, not just the class. So the first thing we're going to talk about here is the reroll trap.
Yeah.
And nearly every... Go ahead.
No, yeah, I think we were going to say the same thing. Is like, this is not a unique problem to RoR.
No, it's not.
This is something that happens in every MMO.
I think it happens here a lot easier because of how just how RVR works in general. You know, like there's a lot of average players. I'm just going to throw that out there. Okay. There's a lot of average players that play RoR. There are very few really good players that spend time with their character, learning the ins and outs of how they can fight against other comps. Yeah, exactly. So the people that spend years and decades learning how to play the class that speaks to them the most, those are few and far between, and they make the rest of us look like chumps.
Especially players who have like a very high personal accountability model. They will tend to improve very quickly and get well above and beyond what. And there's nothing wrong with being average. That's just the way the bell curve works.
Yeah. But we're going to talk about personal accountability in a little bit later.
It literally could have been the theme of the episode, right? But here's the thing. We see it on Reddit, on the forums, on wherever you go to post, on Discord. A lot of new players coming in, and what's a number one thing? I'm a WoW veteran.
You know, I've seen a lot of people saying I'm an MMO veteran too. So
as well,
people that have been playing MMOs since the early days of the internet, I mean, we're all old dudes salty
feel
behind our behind our screens. We've been playing MMOs forever. It's just that's what we enjoy, right? So it's not just WoW vets that are coming to ROR. It's everybody that's played.
It's a common
any
one
MMO.
because it's the biggest MMO out there, and
Yeah,
obviously
it's true.
just that absolute titan. But here's the issue, and especially like PvP in WoW, yeah, it's super interesting, but a lot of people are coming from PvE, and ROR is a very PvP centric game, obviously. Now remember, in PvE, when you measure your class effectiveness, you're measuring it against a fairly static barometer. Like you're comparing yourself. Hey, oh my god, can we clear this mythic boss if I do enough damage? Yes. And there's a very set way, but remember that the bar that you're trying to beat in PvP is constantly shifting. You might be fighting a stronger, a weaker warband, a stronger or weaker individual, and so it's harder to get that feedback loop going because it's inconsistent what you're measuring against. Anyways, we're going into a lot of like preamble, which I think is important. Because you have to understand that like there are tons of variables running, and you can choose to say it's all of the variables' fault. It's not mine. And that's okay. You can do that. You'll stay exactly where you are.
If you want to improve,
and the game will move on.
If you want to improve, there's a very important question that you should ask yourself. Is it really my class that's holding me back? Or is it me? Am I still learning about the game? Not just my class mechanic, but just the game as a whole. Like, this game is not as straightforward as some people think it is. And we've talked about some of these things in past podcasts, like how your defensive target is not the same as your guard target, how Dark Protector works. I mean, these are tank topics specifically, but it still goes to show that there are a lot of things about the game that you still need to master before you can just say, all right, it's just the class. I need to find something better. So the question, is it really my class, or do I still have things to learn?
If you're having fun, the class is probably not the problem. Here's the way I think about it, and this is what we're all faced, and this is why we're talking about horizontal progression, is if there's two tanks that will fill up, and that's what makes you into a good player. One of those tanks will be the gear that you get. The gear that you get, you will get the best gear in the game at some point, and there's nothing better than that. You will be BIS, best in slot, right? But there's another tank that will continuously fill, that has no ceiling, and that's your own personal skill and the way that you actually play the game. That one never stops filling.
You can see it in the numbers when you have two identical characters spec'd the same, renown's the same, mastery's the same, everything's the same, but one of them performs slightly better than the other one. And a lot of it is not just about knowing the game and having the better skill, but we've talked countless times about positioning, situational awareness. So we can't say how important that situational awareness and positioning are key components of everybody's ability to apply pressure.
It's a game of seconds. It's a game of
3
minute
seconds.
little adjustments. So you know what? Let me ask the big question flat out. Serj, what the heck is horizontal progression?
Okay. This is a pretty big topic. All right. But let's try to boil it down to a couple of things. Everybody knows what vertical progression is, but we'll get into it a little bit here. So vertical progression is when you level up, you get measurably better stats. You have access to better gear. You have access to higher level talismans. You get more renown, which also equates to more stats. So basically, vertical progression can be measured in your character's information sheet. Okay. Horizontal progression is things that you control as a player. Your awareness, your communication skills, your positioning, the decisions that you make during an encounter, before an encounter, after an encounter. I mean, everything comes into play here. Selecting the right target, stop attacking tanks, better usage on your cooldowns. And once you've mastered all of these things, then you start looking into trying different builds, trying different gear, different talismans, and trying to min-max your play.
Yeah. And I mean, we have a live example of that going on right now. Like if I can direct even our listeners, tab in, come have a look at us. If you're looking at Serj's footage here, I think the setup from us going from Juki Barracks there, you see his mouse moving around. See, you see his screen is high. He's looking forward, seeing where the next enemies are. He's just gotten ahead of the warband leader and pushed, and now his tank has caught up. There's a lot going on here. To be fair,
you said, I remember, you said, let's go. So I went.
This
I
man
was
is
following your
as if I said that as a negative. He got a kill on that push. Had he let me finish?
Okay. Being a little defensive.
He got a kill on that push. That was a good push. Your tanks, you were in no danger. If the situation read had been different there, you could have died, but you took no damage. What made the difference is awareness. What made you get the kill is positioning. What made you confident to go up is communication. All of these things we just talked about. And again, you're shifting back up. You're looking up the ramp. You're looking up the ramp and your mouse is moving. Your mouse is moving to people around you. Your mouse is moving. I see you clicking me there. Like, this is what we're talking about. There's a lot of actions that are going around here that aren't, I'm hitting my buttons and killing my enemies here. These are the setups that make your fights successful, right? And that's what I'm talking about. That is exactly what I'm talking about. So there was the footage was very timely. Now we're coming back here. We're about to take another fight. You're ready. We're coming in. You're look at that. And right on the warband leader. And here we go. And we're going to see, and there's the channel. Right as the channel call comes out. It's almost like you're a good player. Very, very nice. I think this footage really supports what we're talking about. So again, I know it's hard for some folks. When we say things like positioning, awareness, and communication, those are very big topics. We're aware. We know. Communication means keeping comms clear.
It just takes
saying
time.
The things that are important. It does.
Like,
it takes a minute.
When you first change any little thing on your UI, it throws off your brain, and you're trying to absorb new information, and it takes a little bit of your brain power away from the thing that you're trying to do. So imagine when you're new to the game and you're getting all of this new information that you've never been exposed to before. Your brain power is being absorbed by all of this new information, your situational awareness. You have horse blinders on. So give yourself a couple of weeks to where your brain can start filtering this information. Say again?
Yeah, if not more than that, a couple of weeks is
I'm being very generous here. Like, a couple of weeks is where you start to feel comfortable. You're not there yet, but you start to feel comfortable. You need time for your brain to start processing the information and being able to pick out the stuff that's important. And it just takes time. So if you're new, if you've only been doing this a month or so, just give it some time, get the information you need. And we're going to talk about the information you need later, but you just don't keep those blinders on forever. Like, you have to go outside of your comfort zone eventually.
And some of the points and I think the footage there was just an excellent example. When to chase, when not to chase. There is a good time to chase. Those are hard reads. Like, all of every single warband or fight, small man, 1v1 is a series of micro decisions, right? That you have to make, whether it's about where you've placed your camera and your cursor or what abilities you use, right? It goes more into than just pressing a button once every 1.5 seconds. which is the global cooldown. So that's what we're talking about, and I'm glad we have supporting footage of you as a DPS to do this, because I think that it's a common approach in the game. You're seeing Serj use a few add-ons there, things that help him reduce that mental load when he's playing. So we talked about what the idea of horizontal progression is. A couple of live examples there. Let's talk about how to get on that infinite treadmill that is continuous improvement. I want to talk about, honestly, everything that we've got for you. I'm going to say these are all my favorite methods because, well, obviously we got to distill down what we wanted to talk about to you. But my number one favorite way is finding a mentor. Finding a mentor is amazing.
And I did that before this warband, before this footage that you're watching. I spoke to one of the top meatballs on Destro and asked for some feedback. And we talked about it in a previous podcast. So if you need help and you can take footage, give that footage to somebody that you respect and ask them for their feedback. And that's exactly what I did. I shared my footage with him and he said, these are the things that I'm seeing that you can improve. So I put them into practice during this warband. So
now, obviously you got them all perfect the first time, right?
Oh, yeah.
No, it's a continuous matter. Look, guilty of it as well. Last week or the week before, I got to go to the Stomp and Box Choppa dojo. It's a very nice dojo, very well decorated, very, very nice.
It's all green,
and learned a class that I've been playing since the start of the game. I have warband lead on Choppa, and I learned a lot from his perspective, and the things that he told me were just, he felt like a revelation. And I've been trying to improve every night. He still beat me in damage last night. It is what well, that's, the student has not surpassed the mentor just yet. Stompin', if you're listening, thank you very much. Shout out to you, sir.
Yeah, I didn't say the person who I went to, but the person that I went to was Krang. So Krang's dojo is also an amazing dojo.
Yeah. So this is definitely, and honestly, we've talked about this in previous episodes. I love that we can refer previous episodes like this so often, because I think we cover the topics we cover are just important to us, which is player retention and folks having fun in this game. I think I've not met a single person that doesn't love talking about a career that they're good at.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm sure they exist out there, people who don't like to do that, but like,
but there's nobody's gatekeeping information on the class that they enjoy, especially if somebody's like, hey, I want to play this class. Can you teach me? Dude, one of the best Maguses on the server, Tramadol, if he sees somebody that he recognizes playing a Magus, he will spend time with you to help you. One of the coolest dudes there is. He's a great Magus, and he will spend time to help you get better if you want his help.
Shout out to all you mentors out there, all of you that reach out or just answer questions with energy and like welcoming and everything. That's the good stuff. Like, that's how I think that's one of the best ways to pass knowledge in this game. There are so many ways. I keep mentioning this guy Serj, who made amazing PvE guides.
Yeah, I've heard about him.
There are many ways to pass knowledge, but this direct mentorship, Serj, you've gone on record many times saying people learn by doing, and I tend to agree with that. And somebody who can watch you do it, I didn't mean to make that sound so creepy, but somebody who can watch you while you do it. So
I know where you're going with this, and some of you know that I was a teacher for quite a few years. There's this idea that there's 3 different ways to learn, right? Learn by seeing, learn by doing, learn by reading. I think it's all bullshit, honestly. I can show you how to do something a million times, and you're never going to fully understand it until you do it. You can read about how to do something a million times and you're never going to fully understand it until you do it. There is probably less than 0.1% of people who can watch somebody do something and just, okay, I got it, right? It doesn't happen. Everybody learns by getting their hands dirty down in the mud. You don't make the neurological connections in your brain until you actually put it into practice. So we can talk about all of the ways that you can improve, but until you actually do them, you're not going to actually improve. So learn by doing, ask questions, and then go and practice it.
Go do it. Yeah. Absolutely.
Sorry, I think I got on a little soapbox there, but I'm very passionate about.
You stole my soapbox, so I like it. I'm usually the one grandstanding around here.
Okay.
But in reality, is like, so these concepts we talk about, and I especially keep coming back to positioning and awareness. There's no way that through this podcast, unless we review footage, and again, viewers, perhaps in the Q&A, if there's footage you would like for us to review and comment on, that could be an interesting thing to do. We could consider that.
To that point, right? I have almost one of every single character at level career rank 40 plus RR. And so if you want to see footage of a specific class, just let me know. We'll get.
That's what happens when you can level something in less than 24 hours. Jeez.
Well, I have friends.
You get by with some help from your friends? Cool. So
it's an MMO, of course I do.
The mentoring part, sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought for a second.
It's
but the
okay.
mentoring part, like positioning and awareness is something that you'll always hear, and it's hard to know what that might mean in practice. Like, I can tell you, healers stay back, spread out, attack from the flank, blah blah blah. Some folks, if you don't see it, those are just words. And putting it back into practice, like Serj said, doing it commits it to memory, commits it to muscle memory. I'll just come back to Stompin' just one more time. Is I've noticed how his attack patterns will change whether he's leading a warband or joining a warband, and that's super important, and that's not by accident. So what I'm saying is, find a mentor. If you're having trouble with that, reach out to us. We might pair you up with somebody great.
We know
but
people.
I think that we know people who know people.
Very important people. Many leather bound books.
It just makes the game. It makes the game so much more fun. It makes them so much more fun.
Yeah, the game is way more fun when you're winning. I don't know who likes to lose, but maybe John Boy. But I'm just sorry. Damn. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
No, he likes to have fun. And part of his fun is just.
Hey,
there's nothing wrong with the way he plays.
Destro, I still had fun at times. I still had fun.
We got our butt kicked by Mercy the other day, and it was still a good time. We still had fun.
Bombling, because I know you might listen. My God, you've been putting out numbers this week. I don't know what motivated you, but you've been like a bat out of hell.
He was not very happy with our ranking of squig herders, so he wanted to kill us.
Oh, I see.
So
That's probably it. That's revenge, huh?
Yeah.
I want to jump onto a contentious point that we want to make. Is copy good players? And it's not contentious. Maybe that's not the right word. I think it's lacking. Something that's been bothering me is that, I don't know if it's possible through the APIs or whatever. Maybe that'll be a fun conversation or feedback to the developers. Kill boards is great. The armory is great. I would love to be able to see tactics and builds more clearly.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So, like, if somebody has a specific tactic set up, you can't see that online unless they share their build with you through the builder.
Yeah. So our next point, which was to copy good players, start with having something pre-made for you and then modify it for yourself, is a great way to get started. But the problem with that, and I'm going to reuse this example because I feel like I'm a decent enough chopper, not great, but definitely decent enough. And I had so many preconceived notions when I would look at Stomping's build. And only in talking to him did I understand. And all of it was in tactics. Well, not all of it. I'm lying, but the tactics made me change the way I think about everything else. And that's huge. That was like a starting point. And so whether it's having a chance to jump on a stream that somebody might be streaming the game and see the way that they do things. I mean, ideally they'd be playing the class that you're playing, right? But just to see how habits are, like, look at the footage of what Serj is doing there. Doesn't mean that he's playing it perfect, but he performed well that night. He must be doing something right. Hot bars, what does it look like? Like I see your setup, empty areas on the hot bars, that would drive me crazy. Has nothing to do with performance, nothing. But
that's a holdover from previous.
It's a whole, it's also like, this is just me and my particularities. But it's just like, hey, you might be missing a couple of things. We got some great comments last time, like Plan B. Plan B is very optional add-on, but my gosh, if you're a swordmaster or a black orc, I guarantee you it'll make your life easier.
You won't feel like it's optional if you've played with it. After not playing with it, it just
hot bars are a big one, right? Like, just you'll notice that, like, although she's mentioned it multiple times, Tally is one of the best healers I know, if not the best, and she's admitted to clicking.
Yeah, but she doesn't only click. Hold on. That's
a little
misleading.
Her ways are mysterious.
She's said this before. She said this before. She does click abilities, but she uses a hybrid play. She has key bindings that she uses, but she also clicks. She doesn't just click. So, but I still think that her APM would be. It's already gross. Her APM is already gross. She's already one of the best, if not the best, healer on the server. Her APM is already great, and imagine if she wasn't moving her mouse around to click on abilities.
But then she wouldn't be as comfortable. We're speaking for her, but let's have her back on the podcast.
I mean,
interrogate this
we should.
Habit.
We should, but you just said something. We're like, she's playing the way that's comfortable for her. So, like,
correct.
She uses a hybrid method. She does have the key bindings, but she also, if you are more comfortable clicking and you just cannot get your fingers to do the things that you want them to do, that's what she said, then
nice.
Don't worry about the key bindings and focus on the other things that you can control. I still feel like setting up your keyboard correctly and setting up your key bindings correctly is one of the best things that you can do for a MMO specifically, because MMOs are notorious for having way too many abilities. Yeah. So if you can set up your key bindings correctly, it minimizes the amount of time that you spend staring at your bars and more time focusing on what's in front of you. And you spend less time moving your mouse around when you can just move your finger way less distance to hit that ability. So I think it's one of the best things that you can do is setting up your key bindings better. I've seen people switch from using WASD to using ESDF and opening up more keys for them. However,
on the left side,
that completely changes your hand positioning, and it's going to take a while for you to get used to it. So consider it maybe, but also keep in mind that it's going to drastically change the way that you play your game.
Yeah, and these topics kind of mix into each other, because copying a good player, it's not enough to copy them. Go talk to them first and figure out the logic as to why they're set up that way. And again, you'll need to talk to them to understand their tactics and renown builds. The key bindings, here's what I'd like to say about that is, without calling anyone out, practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent.
Perfect practice makes perfect.
Even then,
if you practice something perfectly, then you will be able to do that thing without even thinking about it perfectly, right? It's like driving stick in a car. If you practice shifts correctly 100% of the time, then you can do it without even thinking about it while you're driving down the road, right? That's a very simple explanation. But if you practice grinding your gears every single time you shift, then that's just what you're going to default to when you're not thinking about it. It's a very basic explanation, but it's just
this is also where like a very in-depth and open and personal review is required. Like, have you learned something that is holding you back and now it's going to take a while to backpedal and relearn it? That can happen.
I'm sure
That's
everybody
called
has.
plateauing. Yeah, that's called plateauing, right?
If you don't learn how to do
Basically, I
something
mean, it's two
correctly, it holds
things.
you back.
And about keybindings, it's like you have two hands. One will be on the mouse, the other will be on the keyboard. Nowadays, you don't need a full MMO mouse. You could get one, but there's a lot of buttons you can bind on your mouse. Your mouse is also, as you're seeing from the footage, incredibly useful for your situational awareness, looking around. Now we're in a static keep, excuse me. We're in a static keep here. And I still see you looking around. I see right now on screen, you're tilting your camera. I know exactly why. You're preparing to attack. You're preparing to attack in case there's something going on. So you don't necessarily need to see what's above you right now. You need to be in a position where you can pick out the correct target and pounce on them and hit them. Like this is very good footage that we have in the background at the same time, because look at that, you're attacking now. It's almost like I knew what you were gonna do. And you see here, the abilities are going out and Serj is still moving his mouse. His mouse is not reserved. He's not clicking any abilities. He's moving around. He's looking left and right to see where the stack of enemies is going to be. Hopefully we win this fight.
We eventually do. So, we eventually
good. Excellent. I
think I died.
Yeah, and remember, like let's talk about personal preference here. I'd love to hear yours. Like I use Q, E, R, F, C, and sometimes X and V. I use Shift and Alt to modify some of those entries. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't go further than that. Very rarely I have like abilities that I'll seldomly use bound to 6 because my hand can reach. No issues there while I'm playing. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is my ideal. Q, E, R, F, C, X. Those are the buttons I use, and I'll modify them with Shift, Control, or Alt.
Yep. So I switched over to an MMO mouse about 10 plus years ago, and I've never gone back. So I use my MMO mouse that has 12 bindings on the side, and I use Control, Alt, and Shift modifiers. So basically everything's done with my left thumb. My right thumb. But
Would you say you're all thumbs?
Yeah, definitely. But I've been using an MMO mouse for over 10 years. I'm just used to it at this point. And it took me a long time to get used to it. Maybe 2 months, like 2 weeks to kind of get a little comfortable with it, but 2 months to really start performing better.
Yeah, all of that, like especially any change in that kind of situation, it takes a minute. I'm purposely like skimming over that part because we're going to talk about it a little bit later. On the footage here, what just had happened is you got pulled and then you used your pounce to come back and put yourself in a resible position because you saw you were in danger. That's another very, very smart move. That's a good heads up play, making the best out of a bad situation. You and I are both dead on the ground right there. Woohoo, dead
I
buddies.
followed my warband leader.
There you go. That was your first mistake. But yeah, so key binding there, like I think it's very well demonstrated by the fact that Serj here in this footage can keep moving his camera while still using abilities, whether it be on the mouse or the keyboard. Many folks can do that while clicking as well. I know. So find the best setup for you. Just explore and understand that even if you try something new, you're not going to get 100% efficiency out of it until you practice it. So, you know, sometimes it's taking a step back to be able to take 3 steps forward. Very, very cool. Next one, and we haven't talked about this one a lot. There are some guides on this, but game settings, they matter a lot. A lot.
They do. And before we really get into this, we're going to give a shout out to the warcamp.com. They will be in the description, but they do have some update or some things that you can. Oh, actually, that's for optimizing your game settings. This is
Your in-game settings.
Your personal settings.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I jumped the gun a little bit there.
We've kind of been talking about it. We're alluding to it. This is foreshadowing, y'all. Like this is the level where we're at. We've got some foreshadowing included in the podcast.
Well, that's
so
what happens when you write the script. You get a little ahead of yourself.
Imagine. Lots of really, really interesting things. Your field of view, some of it has to do with your screen. We're not going to tell you to buy all new hardware to play RoR. But in-game...
We're not going to tell you to not do that either.
Yeah, that's fair.
Sorry.
In-game, limit what you need, right? Limit your stuff to what you need. You can get performance enhancements out of just removing guild tags.
Yes.
Removing nameplates.
Titles.
Doing things like that. Titles is another big one, but don't remove mine. I have cool titles. Please come look at my titles. I see lots of people standing in front of you in the cannon.
Yeah, it kind of pissed me off.
Cool.
So
yeah,
it just stopped.
Combat text is another big one. Any logging, things like that. Your mouse sensitivity, that'll affect your turning speed. Please don't be a keyboard turner. You'll look at the footage and you don't see, you don't see Serj using A and D to keyboard turn. Personally, I haven't bound A and D specifically to just be strafe. I hold right click, right click and hold it, and then you can strafe. That's how I've done it in MMOs for years. I don't know if it's the most efficient way. I don't think so.
I actually unbind my left and right turn, and A and D are strafe.
See, I'd lose my mind. I've annoyed people into unbinding their S. Don't use your S key, or very rarely use your S key unless you're a tank and know exactly what you're doing. The reason why is when you're walking backwards, you walk slower. So you're just wasting time. Obviously, giving your back to the enemy is a bad idea because then you have no defensives. Learn to strafe, sideways strafe, like slalom, left and right, and left and right. To only show your sides to the enemy. Find a turning speed that you're comfortable with, and with a mouse sensitivity that goes to match. Ultimately, it's make sure you have visibility. I think the footage right there is a great example. Not too much on the screen. Top 2/3 of the screen are fairly clear, allowing you to see far, deep and wide. That's what she said.
Yep.
Having that ability will have an immediate effect on your awareness and what's going on. You see, going up on the wall, seeing what's out there. We probably got to call out that there's ink at main. You're trying to tell us how much, because ink main has very little information to it, right? Understanding your field of view, how much you can see in front of you, how much is happening on your sides, so letting you know that like your camera going back and forth, left and right, that should be happening a lot. And understand it might be hard at first, like warbands and PvP, like we're talking hours of focus, right? With sometimes very little downtime in between. So that takes a lot out of you, and it's normal if you might feel tired or struggle with it on some nights. We're coming back from work, school, whatever. You're doing this, you've already probably had a full day. It's understandable that your performance might not be perfect every single time. This getting off my soapbox.
Well, that kind of goes into reducing your mental load, right? You're already tired from a long day of work, so reduce your mental load. Let the add-ons do the work for you. But that's a little bit more foreshadowing.
And the settings as well, right? Having solid screen resolution matching to what your screen's native resolution is, scaling your UI, scaling the amount of like names and tags that you see, How many health bars do you want to see on how many targets? If you're not a healer, like, I mean, and kind of just looking at your DPS setup here, I know it's a part of it is add-ons, but like, what do you got? You got your group there, front and center. The warband, you've got it down to the bottom right. It's hidden by my camera. Why? Because as a DPS, how much of that info do you need on the fly? Healers need to heal the warband. You can't do shit if we're getting crushed, right?
Right,
All you
and
can do is try to output your damage and follow instructions.
my enemy shows important buffs, like for the Witch King, Sov speed, and stuff like that, so I can see when my group has been given the buffs that affect me. It also shows me who is being guarded, which tanks are currently using their guards. So
should be all of them.
It is. You can see it is.
Our topics are flown, but this naturally takes us to the add-ons, right? You don't. I mean,
this topic could be a point of debate for a lot of people. I've heard some people say they hate add-ons. I've heard some people say that you can never have too much add-ons or too many add-ons. We are going to keep this one very simple, right? We have, we don't think that you need an abundance of add-ons, quality of life things. Those are great, but the minimum requirement for you to be effective in a warband are add-ons that give you the information you need right now that you do not have with the base UI. That's basically the easiest way to put it.
And that won't clutter your screen. That's part of like our recommendation.
You can set them up to clutter your screen, or you can set them up to have less clutter. So make sure you're actually going through these settings. And I do have my enemy and buff head settings available. I will include the link in the description as well.
If you like what you see on screen.
Our top two recommendations are what we always talk about is enemy and buff head. And couldn't have had a better time to just show the layout. Enemy and buff head are the bare minimum. If you don't want any more add-ons, you don't need any more add-ons. You can just get those two, and it will improve your gameplay and your ability to know the information that you need. It will be more available to you. That's just not
even
available.
If you zero configure them, you're still better off.
That's true. You don't need to configure them. It's better than not having them, but you probably should. It's just. But if you don't want to configure them, you can just download my settings, and then there you go. They're ready to go for you.
It's almost like we've done it for you.
Yeah, I mean, I've spent how many hours getting these things set up? And recommendations can be, or you can send me any recommendations that you think things need to be fixed or changed, or whatever questions you may have. Our other add-ons that we think you should get, depending on your class, is for the tanks, we recommend Guard Pack. If you are a melee DPS, you may also want Guard Pack because it gives you access to your if you are within range of being guarded. So
your guard line.
Yes. Guard Pack has both add-ons in it. So it will show you the guard line. And for Sword Masters and Black Orcs, we highly recommend Plan B. So you don't need Guard Pack and you don't need Plan B, but you will thank us later if you do not have those and you get them. It just gives you information that you don't have base game.
Yeah, one that I like, and you're running it there on the footage, you can see is the UI frames pure. So yourself, your target, your friendly target, your enemy target. I would like to revamp because I think it's very clean. Shows you what you need to see. It gives without too much trouble.
Gives health percentages too. Which
percentages are a big one. Aren't in the default UI.
No, they're not in the default UI, which is kind of an oversight on Mythic's part. But there are certain abilities that are more effective at lower health percentages, like your finishers. Squig Herder has one specifically that only works better below 30%, and it just recently received a nerf if the target is above 30%. So 30% or lower is going to be your cutoff for that specific ability, and you can't see the percentages if you don't have an add-on that shows it. And Pure is one of those that will show you. Very, like you said, very lightweight add-on, very sleek, and it also has nameplates above heads or your target.
And there's one more that you like.
There is one more that I like, and I think that it's important for situational awareness, is WOH Reticle. There are other add-ons that do the same thing. That's the one that I use. It just helps you keep track of your target, your defensive and your offensive target. You can configure those to have different shapes and colors depending on which one is selected.
Yeah.
It's just, do we have a target right now? Yeah, so you can see the target with the nameplate, and then you can see there's that green circle that just shows me where they're at. It's a lot easier to keep track of where they are on the screen.
Visibility of your DPS, you know, for your auto attacks to be in range, to know that you've got the right targeted. Oftentimes in warbands, like if you're not the main assist, you can get away with having something like swift assist or whatever do the work for you. But like definitely recommend it. I have my own setup, but I find that having quick target acquisition in a PvP game is a good idea. I think that's a non-controversial statement.
It's definitely, Swift Assist is definitely useful in pug warbands and scenarios. But if you're in an organized warband that's using enemy targeting, you don't necessarily need it. I don't think.
I would still like it. I mean, I think it's a good reason why we still included it here, because I genuinely look at the amount of stuff that's happening on screen. Like you have to be able to see and target and choose. And I think I also agree with the point where Swift Assist is great all the time, but I would challenge DPS to, especially in an AoE warband, like understand what you're doing. You know, have independent target selection that still helps the overall group. Those are harder questions, sure, but like I still think it's useful and has its place, and having a clear view of who your target is very important.
And the last point about add-ons, I know some people do not like add-ons. My recommendation is these are quality of life improvements, so there's no reason for you to not try them out. And if add-ons bother you, just install one at a time, get used to it, and then try adding another.
Yep. Otherwise, maybe organized warband isn't in the cards for you. That's okay. There are many other types of content you can do. It's just that the amount of information you go through in a warband, you will not be able to process it with the base UI. We're coming up to some of my favorite topics, and I know I've said that about many of the topics.
This one's for you, Bank.
Boy, oh boy. Personal accountability type topics.
All right, so the next one that we're going to talk about, the next way that you can improve your gameplay, is ask better questions. Not how do I get better? Be more specific.
It's too broad of a question. Yeah, exactly. Years ago, I read a book called The Growth Mindset. I highly recommend it to anybody.
I actually did a little bit of research on the growth mindset for this episode. I mean,
Ooh.
I did hear about it, and I've watched videos about it before, but I did a little bit more deep dive into the growth mindset specifically for this episode. So I can also recommend the growth mindset as well. So
ultimately what it is breaking down things that you might think are innate or talents or things like that as a skill that you as a person, an individual, have, And in order to improve that skill, I do think you have to ask the right questions.
Right, and we're going to give you some examples.
We are. I think, just immediately, and this is one that we get a lot from new players coming in. You see it across the socials for the game. What class is the most needed? What class is strong?
Okay, so
all of them.
I'm gonna say something that you may not agree with. What class is strong or what class is OP is the wrong question. But asking what class is needed is not necessarily the wrong question. It's not the right question. Right? I think a better question is, what class do I have more fun playing on? Rather than what class is needed.
That's not a question that Reddit can answer for you.
No, it's not.
And you might have to dip your toes into a few classes.
It's not something that other people can answer for you. This game has some similar classes to other MMOs, but it has a lot of classes that have not been seen before or since. So the best way to experience a class is 1 through 16 in tier 1. I know it's not everybody's favorite, but it's a great way to dip your toes into the game and find out what class speaks to you. And it's very easy to get to 16.
We're talking about the initial foot in the door, and this episode might not be, as aimed at newer players as it is more around people who are struggling to improve and take that next step. And I think one of the great ways to do that, review your death. Every time you die, understand, like, I don't know if anyone here has ever heard of the 5 whys. Whys are a very good way to get to the root cause of an issue. Right?
Well, you need to know how you died, so that way when you come back, you know what hold he had you in, so you can kill him.
You can counter it, and yeah, exactly. For those of you that don't know, almost everything we say is a reference to The Office.
That was absolutely a reference to The Office.
Let's look at the 5 whys if you're a DPS that just died in a fight, right? And even if you want to troll about it, the 5 whys will force you to either confront reality or make a greater delusion that goes beyond 5 levels. That's great. So I died. Let's go troll the answers. I died. Why did I die? I ran out of HP. Why? Because they hit me really hard. Why? Is it that they hit harder than you? What happened? Why did they die and you didn't? That's right?
Or why did
now you're at the third why, and you don't have, you might not have a clear answer. Like you need to dig deeper. So let's go again and realign this model with a personal accountability. I died. Why? Ran out of HP. Why? They hit me really hard. Why? I was in a position where I took multiple channels, or I was in front of my tanks and they were coming in with morales and I couldn't mitigate that damage. Why? I pushed forward and didn't realize I didn't have hots from my healers. I wasn't pre-hotted, and so I didn't have as much EHP as I thought I did. These are more important. And then you ask that second, you would ask another why on top of that. Why didn't I have those hots? Why did they have morales? Why? Okay, well, then I read the fight. I knew they had morales. I was in a bad position. That becomes a more important root cause than, well, I ran out of HP because my freaking healers didn't do anything. And my tank and...
yeah, it's easy. It's easy to say that my tank was out of position and my healers weren't healing me. It's easy to blame other people. But that can't always be the case.
It cannot always be the case.
So
can't be the case. And
if it is always the case,
you're playing against players who will look for the break in your armor. They will look for the area that they can attack, obviously.
Well, but
if you're always the first one to die, then you are the weak link. That's exactly. And so
yeah, but
continue to ask yourself, why?
I'm sorry. So let's get into that, right? if it is always the case, if your tanks are always out of position and your healers are always not healing you, then why, right? Maybe it is your positioning. If you're not following the warband leader, that's first thing you should fix.
But my warband leader sucks. Why? Because it's bank. Why?
Well, your warband leader may suck, okay? They may have very bad situational awareness and they may make very bad calls.
Possible.
But if the entire warband follows them, you'll still do better than everybody doing their own thing.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there. But yeah, so the whole trolley aspect of, you know, my healers are not healing me, my tanks are not guarding me. And if they do have their guard on you, but they're not in the right position, well, do something to fix it and don't just blame other people.
Well, that's the thing. The moment that you've taken something and you put it outside of yourself, you've removed all opportunity for horizontal progression, right? If you feel like you did nothing wrong and it was all on the tank or the healer or the warband leader or whatever, then that's it. Your line of questioning is done. You can't get to 5 whys.
What could you have done to help your healer that was too busy doing something else? Like trying to keep themselves alive or trying to keep somebody else alive. What could you have done? Could you have pulled back? Could you have popped a defensive? Could you have popped a potion, a healing potion, a shield potion? There's a lot of other things that you could have done. If you did all of those things and you still died, then, you know, that's probably just going to happen sometimes.
I mean, bad things can happen. Sometimes a bad outcome with all of the best like Kobayashi Maru, right? Sometimes you just lose and it happens. It's a PvP game.
Yes. Like if they are running in hot and you are running in cold, you might die.
You're going to lose that almost 100% of the time.
Before you can even react. And you're like, well, there's no learning experience there. Well, I mean, there is, but I died before I even knew what hit me. And that doesn't feel good, but
I've been surfing with public warbands a little bit more recently on my healer. And one of the things I've been doing is just, obviously, the warband leader is probably going to be first in. So I'm throwing a few extra hots their way, do something, great shaman ability. And then I'm identifying who are the guys that are really up front. They're like the aggressive players. Are they good aggressive players? Do I want to overexert myself and resources trying to keep them alive? Or are they somebody out of position? And like, this is going to sound, but this is the reality. This sounds a little bit mean. But if I see somebody and they're always the first to die, are they trying to achieve something cool and I should work harder to keep them alive? Which means taking my attention away from others and putting it onto them to keep them alive? Or should I just say, understandably, like this player might be struggling right now. There are other players that could use my help and will take those heals and convert them into something stronger. I have to ask myself that, and that's how I prioritize my healing in a public warband. Initially, I'll start with the aggressive players, and then I'll see who is gaining results, and I'll give them a little bit. I'm not saying I'm stopping the healing, the poor fellow who's trying to learn positioning or whatever, but it's normal. And as a DPS, as a healer, that's easy. No, as a DPS, you can do the same thing. Hey, the healer in my group is a little bit struggling. They might not see okay, maybe I'm not the first to roll in the fight. I'll roll in second wave, second tempo, right? Let me tell I'll just send a message to my tank. Hey, hold back just a little bit. We hit second, right? Is that cool with you? Right on. I'm going to throw axes to build my morale in the meantime, so I'm not late on that part of the game, right? These are options that you have all of a sudden. Taking it to a more macro level. Oh my God, we're outnumbered in the lakes. That happens all the time. Great. I need to start pulling them back, kiting back, not exposing myself or my flanks as a leader or a warband, and bringing them little bit back every single time. And then, hey, at the Warcamp, now we can possibly counter with morales and things like that. That's what I'm talking about, is getting to those points, the 5 whys understanding, because it opens up your possibilities of how you control this. Sorry, okay, that was a big soapbox moment. Getting off now.
Okay, that's fine. It was good. It was good.
5 whys.
We
I've destroyed Serj's brain. I'm sorry.
no,
Everybody.
you're fine. I was you had a lot. It's just a lot to process, and I think that it was very good information. So everybody watch it back.
That's
Deep
right. Give us
dive
2
whatever
views, not
everything he said.
1.
To tie a knot on this one, the ROR community has a ton of knowledgeable players. Just reach out, ask people questions, be respectful. If you don't agree with them, don't call them names. Just, let them know, like, all right, appreciate your feedback, and move on. But there are some really good players. They can help you answer these questions if you just reach out.
Agreed.
And if you can't answer the whys, then ask for somebody's unbiased opinion.
That's okay. Ask somebody who was there, somebody who was in the warband with you, somebody running.
Why did I die?
Do you see anything I could improve? Why did I die? Exactly. Next point I think is something, this one's hard, but play with intent.
It's not.
Oh.
I don't think it's hard. It's difficult
goal setting is an art.
Well, it's difficult to play a game and say, all right, today I want to learn this new skill, so I'm going to set aside time to learn a skill, when all you want to do is just have fun, right? I like to ride dirt bikes. I like to go out and have fun, but I always set aside some time to learn a specific skill or practice a skill, right? I just want to go ride. I don't want to practice, but you don't get better if you don't keep practicing for the explicit intent of improving. You're never going to improve if you don't try to improve. Okay. So some example goal setting that you can do, and these are simple things, but like swapping your guard. Focus on guard swapping to whoever is currently receiving damage. That could also include the other tank in your party, not just DPS. And healers that are really far away from the fight, sometimes they get caught up, like especially a doc that is running, I forget the skill, but if you have a doc that's doing the frontline dance, you can also guard them. Okay, so guard swapping is a really good skill to get good at for tanks. If you're setting your guard and completely forgetting about it, you're missing out on some extra protection that you could, and EHP, effective health, for your group that could extend the life of your warband.
And you know what's funny? Just because we're talking about this, and I think it's a great topic, guard swapping is so important. But I have, or at least I'm incredibly privileged to be surrounded by people that will openly give me feedback. And the last time I led a warband on a tank, Toril, shout out to Toril, told me I was guard swapping too much. And so did Death. So 2 people told me I was guard swapping too much. And I asked, why? I did not. I asked, what do you mean by that? And what's the benefit of not doing that? And they explained it to me. It was really interesting, actually. It's like sometimes when the person that's already taking the damage is already there, it's not worth guard swapping. Anyways, it was just so interesting because it's like a good guard swap will be proactive. It'll happen before the damage comes in, because if you're swapping after they've taken the damage, you're just wasting a global cooldown. And that was such an interesting talk to me. Like I was like, oh, mind blown, right? That
well,
makes so much
not
sense.
Everybody needs to be guarded either.
Correct.
Just
exactly. Oh, you're just saying that you introduced it that way, but I thought that was so great. But it's fun because like you can take any topic that we talk about here is like too much of a good thing is a bad thing, and that can happen. Like if you're not using your GCDs efficiently. A couple of examples. I think guard swapping is a good one for me as a warband leader. One of the things that I'm always thinking about is morale timers. That's always on top of my head. How much morale do they have? How much morale do we have? What are the chances we can push or we will get pushed? That's a huge one. Huge one.
And my enemy does show everybody in the warband's morales.
And oh, it does. And it's so, that's one of the settings. Like the fact that it's not on by default is insane. But the thing is, like, playing with intent, what that means is many of you might think, okay, I'll log in and I will literally think I'm going to be a better player tonight. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about picking one specific skill or action.
You have to master a skill
that you'll focus on.
And once you master that skill, right, it may take you a couple of hours of practice. It may take you a couple of weeks to master. But once you master that skill, then you move on to another skill that you think you need to improve on, and you make it a point to play with intent for that specific skill, while not forgetting about the skill that you just mastered.
That skill will go to muscle memory. Like we said, practice makes permanent, right? That'll go to muscle memory. And like goals, I'll say it again, you know, goal setting is an art, right? Oh, you want to improve at positioning. What does that mean for you? Like, okay, I've noticed I'm usually one of the first to die during fights. Tonight, I want to be one of the last to die. What does that look like in actuality? Maybe that means that I go back a little bit, right? I step back a little bit and oh, how did that affect my damage? Now, how do I survive longer and do the damage? That's another night of practicing, right? Target selection. I want to make sure I'm able to push the healers with my warband, and I select the right targets and select healers. What does that look like? Maybe I get an add-on and focus on that all night. I should only be attacking healers tonight. I want to convert my damage into kill damage. Great. What does that need? Crit, burst? What are you missing? Is it your rotation? So small goals every single night. They will help you progress massively, but set realistic, smart goals. SMART is an acronym: specific, measurable, attainable, R, which I forgot what that means, and time-based. So time-based is tonight I will work on, you know, I'm gonna spell like Homer Simpson, SMAT. I forgot what the R stands for.
You have Google. All right, everybody, tell Bank in the comments what the R stands for in SMART acronym.
My goal might not be too smart, I guess. What does the R stand for?
I don't know. I mean, I've heard about it, but I don't remember.
Specific,
I'm not the one on the soapbox.
Realistic? Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, realistic. They'll pretend it's realistic. Oh. If it's not realistic, I'm in so much trouble.
Oh, I'm keeping that in. That was the best. I love it. That is Cohen.
Set SMAT goals, because I don't remember what the R stands. Set SMAT goals.
Set SMART goals. It's actually it's not something that was adapted for gaming. I believe it was adapted for just like improving in general on something that can be improved upon, right?
Like, I don't know why I'm dying on this hill of not Googling it, but I will.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm not going to make you. I love it.
Man.
All right, guys. So to wrap up the playing with intent and setting smart goals, you're going to be in a better position if you do this one thing, right? Every time you play, have a goal. That's how you're going to improve. You're going to make incremental improvements, and it will over time lead to drastic changes.
Yeah. And come talk to us about it. Like, I think that's been one of my favorite things about having this opportunity to co-host the podcast is the community outreach, the people that I've gotten a chance to talk to, the folks that message me directly with feedback on the podcast. And then I'm always like, just go make a comment for our engagement.
Yeah,
but
to speak to that,
love that.
We love hearing
comment
from you.
And message me.
We love hearing from you. Please don't stop, but please comment, because a lot of times what you guys are telling us in the private messages are amazing things that we feel everybody else needs to hear.
Yeah, they're so relevant.
If you're not comfortable publicly commenting, I understand. Still reach out. But I promise you, I've never had a single comment to me, even if it was a negative comment, that I didn't say, please comment on the video because this needs to be shared.
Agreed.
So it's always good feedback, even when we're wrong, especially when we're wrong, to correct something that we've said. So
yeah, this opportunity of outreach has just renewed my love for this community, and please keep it coming. What a pleasure it's been to kind of be able to do this and share this information and interact with the community in this way. We're not done yet, by the way. We're not done.
We got one more big topic, and I want
optimizing your setup. Ooh.
I want to start this one off by saying, we know that not everybody can go purchase new things for their computer, but if you are able to, you have some extra income, or what do they call that, disposable income, to where you can get some of the things that we're going to talk about coming up.
I play a free game because I have no disposable income.
I mean, right. It makes sense, but I just want to start off by saying that we know not everybody can go buy a brand new computer. So optimizing your setup doesn't mean just buying new hardware. There are other things you can do besides purchasing new hardware.
Yeah, I think we'll give some no nonsense advice here. For sure, buy better gear. You're not going to get as much of a performance boost as you might think, unless you're in very, very outdated gear. Just because the way that this game engine is made, it will not actually utilize most of what modern hardware brings forward. One of the things, if you're struggling, immediately, reducing your in-game settings, stay away from shiny, and get everything down to performance. Running the game not in borderless windowed but full screen is a good idea. One of the biggest things, and I think it's become very common now, that people leave their browsers running. Browsers are a memory hog, and if your game is struggling, close your browser before you load the game. Like, shut it down entirely.
I don't know if you guys know this, but if you are using Chrome, and I talked about this with Bank already, and he explained it to me in more detail, but if you're using Chrome utilizes every bit of RAM that your computer has that is left over. So if your game is using 2 gigs of RAM and you have 32 gigs of RAM, then Chrome is using the remainder 30. Does it need it? No, but it's using it. It's just hogging up the RAM. So there's ways to fix that, but the fastest way to fix it is don't run Chrome in the background while you're playing the game.
Or any browsers. Browsers are pretty heavy nowadays.
Right. I don't mean just Chrome, but I was using them as an example. If you're playing the game, then use your computer for playing the game and don't run those background background browsers. Some of you that are on newer systems don't have any problems with that, and that's fine, but we're not talking to you specifically. If you're struggling with the game's optimization, then try closing out those background browsers and any other background programs that you can close.
Yeah, the game caps out at 99 FPS anyways. If you're struggling, try to aim for about 60. Limit your add-ons as well. Especially add-ons that read the log a lot can be a little bit heavier. From the notes I've seen on the add-on site, Emissary has helped optimize a lot of the add-ons recently, including a really good run through Enemy.
Right, and if you haven't updated to the newest version of Enemy, it is a drastic increase to performance.
Go update it. What are you doing? Go update it.
It was updated a couple of months ago. So if you're running off of an older version of Enemy and you think that nothing can really change, it is huge difference.
I think with the prices being so variable now, one thing we can recommend about hardware, if you're still running a hard drive an upgrade to a solid state drive SSD can be relatively cheap. The prices are very volatile due to all the data centers being built and things like that. I think Serj was able to find some online that are fairly reputable for 35 to 50. That's USD. It
If
can
you're
help quite a bit.
able to buy a new SSD and you are currently running on an HDD, maybe consider it.
Yeah,
It
a SATA
will
SSD
help.
is one that won't go directly on your motherboard, so you might not need to change your motherboard. M2 SSDs are better. None of that
Those
matter.
are hundreds of
Like I
dollars.
said,
So
yeah, they're a lot more expensive for sure. That's one of the big, like, hard drive compared to a solid state drive. The performance difference is
it's
we're
anywhere
talking 20,
from
30, 40 times difference.
well, I was going to say it's anywhere from 3 to 10 times better.
Even more than that, yeah.
They can be, but even on the low end.
Overall, the game performance, when I'm talking about actual data transfer, it's a lot better. And remember, like, you don't need flashy graphics if you can't follow along with the fights, right? So
It doesn't need to
tune
look
those graphics
pretty.
down.
It just needs to be smooth.
Let me talk a little bit about setup that isn't the actual hardware. Being seated comfortably at a chair that makes sense for you in a comfortable environment where your hands can be on the keyboard, mouse, you don't need a gaming keyboard, you don't need an MMO mouse. You could get those, and if you have those, that's wonderful. Make sure that, again, they're resting comfortably, that your arms aren't in a weird position as you're trying to do this. Sit comfortably. Again, we're talking about hours and hours and hours. You need to get as comfortable as possible. Don't play with your laptop's trackpad. Plug in a keyboard and mouse.
Assuming you can purchase a keyboard and mouse.
And I'll say one more thing. Just one more thing. Remember that oftentimes, especially organized warbands and things like that, we share Discord. You're going to be in Discord with 23 other people at minimum, usually. If you don't have a headset and your mic is somewhere on board or your laptop or something, just mute yourself. Just think about your setup. Like, just, yeah.
I feel like that's. I feel like
imagine you're in a room with 20 other people. Are there things that you want to or don't want to say? The idea here is to be seated comfortably with a good ergonomic setup. You can Google ergonomic setup for my PC and you'll get a few images that'll guide you. Can't tell you what to do there, but being ergonomical and comfortable will have a profound effect on your performance. I promise you that.
Yeah, and to tie a knot on this one, some of you are going to disagree that this is what's holding you back, but a good hardware is not going to make you the best player, but bad performance will hold you back.
Yeah. Terrible hardware performance. Yeah. Again, if you need help, and some folks might not be technical, ask questions, whether it be in our comments and Discord and whatnot. Very, very helpful. And again, be comfortable at your screen as you sit down. It'll help you be less frustrated when you die as well, because you will die. It's a PvP game after all.
Yeah, who cares about KDR, guys? Stop.
I do.
Stop it. I don't give a shit about KDR.
Stop it. Get some help.
I can die 20 times to get 1 kill, and I'm still happy I got 1 kill. So,
as long as it's on the right target.
What does that even mean?
Don't worry about it.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah, honestly, so to wrap things up, reminder: the best
Bank got all serious, guys. All right, it's time to listen. All right,
wait. Oh my god, that's so much light. I shouldn't have done that. The best players on the server, like, they didn't just happen to pick the best career through all the patches and they did that years ago. No, they worked hard to learn their class and become the best at what they do, and you can too.
Right. The biggest thing to
apply
remember,
this to yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, the biggest thing to remember here is horizontal progression never stops.
Exactly.
Everybody can always get better. Whether you stay on one class forever, for the next 20 years, you always play that one class, or you do eventually decide to reroll. All of these lessons, all of these things that we're talking about today, everything that you do today makes a huge change in all of the future classes that you decide to pick.
Yeah. I remember like initially improving. Oh my gosh. When I first got Sov, I think on almost all of my characters were some of the worst nights that I've had in the lakes. Because I got out there and just went absolutely crazy.
Because you thought
and
you were
got
invincible.
Destroyed. Destroyed. I was like, I'm at
so
the end of the game now. I'll show these guys.
Yeah.
I remember my first
that.
soved up character was my Sork. That was, I remember it well. I think I have a recording of that night. That was, I think, my worst night in the lakes that I ever had. I'm not exaggerating. I remember
what is
that
effect
very,
called?
very well.
I don't know. No. Is there something for that? Like where you...
The bank is an absolute dummy effect.
I mean, it happened to me too on my chosen. Like I went from Vank to Sov, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna be like, I see all these full soved out knights, and I'm gonna be unstoppable now. Nope. Positioning.
Like, I'm telling you, we were in Cadron Valley. We had the Southern Keep close to our war camp. I got absolutely dog walked that night.
I still have to know how to play the game.
Like, oh my god, I think my healers and my tanks just hated me that night, and I do not blame them. I was a very, very bad player that night.
Yes,
and that's okay.
Sov doesn't make you a better player or indestructible.
And the funny thing is you'd figure I would have had learned my lesson, and for all the characters that I got to Sov afterwards would have been no.
You always forget.
Nah, dude.
I haven't had that problem yet, but I definitely remember getting my ass kicked on my...
I won't forget those nights, and I still think back to them because I did. Yeah, I learned a lot. Didn't necessarily always apply what I learned, but I learned a lot those nights. And honestly, like,
come on, man.
Remember, that's the cool thing, I think, is like once gear is no longer a factor, then it's just you. It's just you and the character, and every little change you make can change the way you play and just make you into a better player. I find that just really fun. Like that's why I love games with that infinite skill ceiling, like this one. It's just non-stop, and I love that we're at this point because we're not right now in the footage. We're making a heck of a... Was this a big postern push? Yeah, it was. Look at this fight we're having at the postern. It was so good. And look at them defending. Their HPs aren't going down. They're so strong. They did
a fantastic job. I think I pushed too far.
Look now, big stare there. Oh yeah, this is so good. And our healers in the background, like they're shifting left because they know we're attacking stare. Oh no, you went the other way.
No, you didn't call it, and I didn't notice that you moved.
Oh, that'll learn me. I should have called little stare there. See, we're still learning just looking at the footage.
I remember after I died, I looked and I was like, oh, Bank's not over here. And I was like, well, why is he not over here?
Footage. Well-timed footage.
Yeah.
My God, it's been great. For you lurkers that are listening to us, just tab over, come see a couple of things that are on screen here. Yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up for today's episode. Hopefully, listeners, you got a tip that helped you improve. Hopefully we've made you excited about your class or excited about logging on next time and learning something. As always, we'd love to hear from you from suggestions for future episodes, or things that you liked about this episode, or things that we missed and should have included. Always do the YouTube thing, like, comment, subscribe.
For sure. If you know somebody who's thinking about abandoning their main because they think that the class is the problem, the grass is always greener, then send them our way. Send this episode to them. sometimes a few small changes might completely transform how the game feels to them.
That's happened to me in my time in the game. And as always, thank you. Watching the Warcamp broadcast, we bring this to the players and hopefully a positive impact on our community that we absolutely love. I'll say it again. Don't forget, do the YouTube thing, like, comment, subscribe, share it with your pals, guildmates, everybody. All of our episodes come out on Fridays, 7 p.m. Central.
Unless Bank is sick.
GMT -5. Yeah, well, and there's patch notes. And like, it was an exceptional week, okay?
It was a good week. Don't forget to submit your questions to our Q&A form. I will include the link in the description.
Heck yeah, looking forward to seeing you all in the comments. And of course, we'll see you next time on the Warcamp broadcast and the battlefield.
Right. Break the meta, play for fun. Catch you next time.